We all had those type of flights. Those type of flights that you don't like the person sitting next to you, that they're loud, or they're talkative, or they snore loud, or if it's a child. But what if I told you about one that tries to dictate you throughout the whole flight?
Attention llamas and alpacas! There's a crazy woman out there that wants to make your life a living hell! Yes, she's at it again! It's Devil Karen!
Pee Plums and Alpacas, this is Livy, and oh god, yes, this is a double Karen story. Oh my god, I think all of us have witnessed so many Karens but aren't aware of it until the Karen slang became a thing. But this one in particular, it happened a few years ago, like not last year, but the last year. I was at Insomnia. That was in the UK, so we can't drive there, so we have to fly there. So I had to fly from Birmingham to Amsterdam, and then Amsterdam to Detroit, and from Detroit to Pittsburgh. Flight from Detroit to Pittsburgh, that's where this story came from. It was only like 30 minutes. It wasn't really a long flight, but oh my god, it was a pure flight from hell, I will tell you that. My parents and I got into this plane. It's not a big plane. It's one of the ones that the rows of seats were just 2 seats. And it was what was assigned on our tickets was my parents were to have 2 seats, like together, and I was supposed to have the next seat in the next row right next to my parents. So yeah, if I want to talk to my mom or whatever, I could just like look next to me and start talking to her and holding a conversation if I wanted to. But that didn't happen, like, even though I didn't really care it didn't happen, but because when my parents got on the plane, they got there before I did, they noticed a woman who was probably about my age, maybe, sitting in my seat. That's not her assigned seat, but she was sitting in it. And my parents asked her, could you please move? Because that's our daughter's seat. And she was like, no. Our daughter's coming, so she has to sit here, so could you please move to your assigned seat? No. Then called the flight attendant over. Ma'am, it's this young lady's seat that you're sitting in. Could you please move to your assigned seat so she can sit there? No. We have a Karen that refuses to give up her seat for me. That was not even her seat. And why do you refuse to get out of your seat? It's not like it's first class or anything. It's middle class seats. And so they were like, okay, fine, but she has to take your seat. No. Well, she has to sit somewhere. We're not gonna kick her out the plane so you can hog up 2 seats to yourself. Well, they didn't say that, but they said like well, too bad she has to sit here because all the other seats are full and you're sitting in her assigned seat, so it's fair that she sits in your assigned seat. Then, she gave me attitude about it, so she got up. I started walking to my seat. This part's not important, but I was wearing a Mugman shirt with a Deadpool hoodie. I actually have a picture of it. Here it is, of myself, and that's the plane. And I was ridiculously tired because, jet lag was starting to kick in. And I had my carry-on, which was a backpack with my sketchbook and everything in it. And I had my crocheted little blanket that I've had ever since I was little, and I still love that blanket to death, and I carry that blanket everywhere. I know that sounds childish, but if you see me at an airport with this blanket, that's absolutely normal. That's just my childhood blanket I call Blanky. And I have Abby, which I just got because Hoshi made it for me for my birthday and gave it to me at that Insomnia con. And I had Rainbowski. So I put my backpack on the ground, I sat in my seat, and I crossed my legs because that's how I always sit down. I always cross my legs. And I put Abby on top of my backpack, and I put my blanket in my lap, and I had Rainbowski in my lap or under my arm, and he just brushed her. He wasn't like, here he is, I'll just use him as an example, and I just ripped something. Oh my god, what did I just rip? I heard a rip. What was that rip? Oh, my pin just became undone, that's all it was. Like, I have, in my outfit, I have these clothespins, I just have to take it out. That's all it was, nothing was ripped. Thank god, that scared me. But, anyway, Rainbowski. And, I had him, like, like this. He just like, I'm like, pretend disarm. He just like, you know, just, I'm not kidding. He was just like, you know, he brushed against her a little bit. And she was like, could you get that thing away from me? And I was like, okay. And so, you know, moved him more on my lap. And let me tell you, if he was alive, I would ask him to bite her. But then I would get into trouble. But that would be epic. If he came alive and just started attacking her, that would be awesome. But yeah, this woman is a grown-up version of Veruca Salt.
I want it now!
She pretty much dictated that whole row. It was just me and her. And, you know, you don't make eye contact with her. You don't talk to her. And if you do, she would like get really upset over nothing. And there was one that the strap of my backpack was on her side, even though that was originally my seat. And then she was like, could you move your shit? Well, yeah. I don't even know what to say. So the flight started, and, you know, I wasn't really doing anything because I was just so freaking tired, and I was just like laying my head against the window. And so I decided to put the screen thing, put it down so I can lay my head and possibly go to sleep, take a little nap on this really short flight. And she was like, could you open the window? And I'm like, I'm going to go to sleep.
Fine, you can crack it a little bit. No, put it up more! More! Okay!
The sun was beating in my eyes the whole time, so I was like laying my head against, and I had to like do that because the sun was that bright. And of course I was in the sky, so of course the sun is gonna be closer. And even though the sun is still like miles and billions of miles away, I don't know. I'm no rocket scientist. And then she decided to get a little snack. Actually, it was not a little snack. It was a frickin' dinner. And oh my god, the smell of that. What the hell is that food that it stunk so bad? And it smelled so bad that it was like making me very nauseous and almost like giving me a slight headache because it smelled that bad and it was so powerful. It was like some sort of rosary chicken with this rice and bean salad thing. I don't know what it was, but that same flight attendant that politely asked her to move then came up to her and went, oh, that looks good. What is it? And then, you know, she started to get friendly with her because she's not telling her what to do. And she's kind of like praising her. God almighty. And I was like, oh my god, please land soon, please land soon. I felt like this throughout the whole flight. I felt like that. I'll tell you that now. And then when I made it, when we landed, and, you know, she was still sitting in her seat when we landed, and everybody was getting out and getting their carry-ons from the overhead bin, and, you know, and she kept on looking at me like, don't touch me. We actually had to wait a while before she finally got out of my seat and then started walking away, and I was like, oh my god, what the hell was that? This woman, if you know that girl from Dr. Phil that said that
I only get $1,000 a month? Ugh, I feel like a peasant.
She reminded me of her too. She was like a grown-up version of her. I could not believe that woman. Like, there are some people that do things that, you know, I sat next to somebody and I don't agree what they're doing with, but I keep my mouth shut. I keep my mouth shut, and there's some that authored like, oh, do you want my seat instead? Or if you're planning to sleep, you can put the thing down, we don't care. You know, stuff like that. But this one dictated everything I did on the flight. And again, yelled at Rainbowski for touching her when he just brushed against her. You should have bit her. You should have bit her. Tried to tell me that to open the window. It was like, I don't want the window open. I'm trying to take a nap. I just came back from Europe. I basically had that whole day flying. That sounds like fun, but in reality, it's not. It's a pain in the ass. After days of flying, all you want to do is sleep. That's all you want to do is sleep. Like, I know every time I go to the UK, the first thing I do when I arrive at the hotel is I just sleep. I just sleep, wake up, have dinner, go back to sleep. At home, just pretty much spent one day sleeping. That is a grown-ass Karen waiting to happen. Like, who the hell dictates people that you don't know what to do? It's like, this is not just your, yes, it's your row, but you don't own the whole row. Actually, and you're sitting in my seat, and you refuse to move for whatever reason. And again, it wasn't like first class or anything. I don't know. These people I don't get, I don't know. I really don't know. So tell me in the comment section below, have you ever met a Karen on a flight? Or experienced a Karen on a flight? Like, that was the only time I've actually experienced a Karen on the flight. The other bad flights, the worst I've had was I was on the flight from Amsterdam to the UK. That flight was just filled with children of all different nationalities, and they were all screaming and crying and throwing tantrums in a different language. Yeah, that was fun to listen to. Like, I don't mind you speaking a different language, I don't mind that, but hearing a tantrum in a different language was like, throughout an hour, that's not pleasant to listen to. But yeah, and you know, babies crying throughout the whole flight. But most of the time from, like, my flight from whatever other country to the UK, it's usually okay. I just fall asleep and everything's fine. Thank you for watching, and be sure to subscribe for more Cuphead content and randomness. And we'll see you next time.